Hi, I'm Bert. I bet you can't guess what my favorite color is. Yeah, you're gonna see a lot of blue if you keep watching this channel. So this is my 77 Subaru DL. I got it from Marketplace over a year ago. It was this hideous yellow. These aren't the original tail lights. They were sun-baked, really plasticky. And I like shiny chrome. So I found some tail lights for a 72 Subaru and did a bit of custom fabrication to the rusted out rear panel. This is Christine. Christine says hello. There was so much rust on the deck under the rear windows, and the rear windows were glued in with some weird house silicone, and it was all rusty all the way around it. So I had to pull the windows out. I had to weld in new decks underneath the windows, and then I had to get some windshield sealant and stick them on because hardware for these windows is non existent anymore. And so, as you can see, there's a lot of rust poking through the little paint job I did. That was a complete cut out and patch in right there. I mean, the whole car was just full of rust holes here and there. So eventually I just said, okay, it's good enough. And I just threw some paint on it so it'll at least look good if you're passing me on the road somewhere. Just don't look too close, and you'll see things like this. Of course, that leaks pretty bad. Around the front, I threw this bumper on. It came off the wagon. I'm probably going to rip it off of there because these cars have a ridiculous overbite to begin with. So I was just testing that out. Anyway, let's look under the hood. I'll take you in here and get you familiar with this car. So that is an original Hitachi carburetor that I've allowed to exist on this car because it ran okay, but now it's giving me problems. Of course, I put the intake tube on it because I lost the lid of the air cleaner. And we're coming back from California with it on the trailer, and it decided it did not want to live in Nevada. So it jumped ship and now resides on the side of I 15 somewhere in California. Oh, yes, the rust holes. Rust holes in the hood. They're not on the top, so I don't worry about it. Everything in this engine bay is really easy to work on. There's the starter back there. There's voltage regulator, rudimentary ignition system. Down there's the dipstick for the transmission. Yeah, this. Somebody decided to put cardboard, newspaper, or whatnot and throw some resin on it because there are big holes that protrude into the cab. So I'm leaving that there for now. I'm eventually going to rip all that out and do some metal work, but I'm not in no big hurry. There's the dog bone, original fan motor. Now there's water pump, alternator, oil filter. I mean, you can reach everything on this car from the top without having to go under it. In fact, the only thing you need to do underneath the car is drain the oil. Yeah, I live by the airport. So we got a axle coil. There's my rudimentary ignition. I'm going to change that all out. I don't like it. I like HEI. Yeah, I'm one of those guys. So I'll eventually do that. You'll see it. Now, this carburetor, I've taken it apart 3 or 4 times and put it back together, and it runs great for a while, and then it starts to hiccup. Now, there's the water passage on the top of this block, as opposed to the later rendition of this block. They deleted that passage tube that goes under the intake and everywhere and loves to leak, and they ran it through the block, which I like a lot better. So I may just keep the other engine in here once I rip this one out, but I still want to go through this engine and rebuild it. Maybe I'll throw it in a dune buggy, maybe I'll put it back in the car. There's the inspection for the timing right there. And then, of course, CV axles. There's the horn. All the spark plugs are really easy to get to. The brakes. Well, there's a clutch cable. I haven't even checked the brake fluid on this since I had it. I mean, they work fine. I didn't see no reason to, but let me go ahead and check these. All right, get off of there. I mean, it's full. It's a bit dirty. I'll end up bleeding that out at some point, but not right now. So anyway, there's your basic walkthrough of a vintage Subaru and how simple and easy they are to work on. And oh yeah, that's been converted to a later strut tower support. I still have yet to do the other side, but they're the same ride height. Doesn't affect anything as far as driving, but I just have to wait till a cheap one comes up on eBay. You know, for those rough days where I've worked really hard, it's nice to know I can come home and soak my feet in the Foot Soaker 5000 on the floor here in the 77 Subaru. That's a nice feature. Here we have our standard issue 70 Subaru cockpit. Found this steering wheel online. I have a couple other from other Subarus also. Up there I made a gauge cluster because there's an ashtray up there and I don't smoke. So you can tell whoever did before burnt that dash mat for me. That console took me a long time to find, as well as this gauge cluster. Gauge clusters from a later Subaru. It came in the Brats. It came in the four-wheel drive wagons. I don't know if they came in these, but I'm sure happy to have it. Now, as you can see, there's none of the creature comforts we've grown to love. Let's go ahead and see how grumpy it's going to be. Haven't started it in a minute. Electric fuel pump noises. Clickety, clickety, clackety, clackety. You want more than 3 pumps? Okay then. There you go. Now wake up. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. We got places to do. People to be. Sounds like an old V8. All right, you're idling. Oh, there's the water I spilled out from the Foot Soaker 5000. Haven't driven there in a couple of weeks. He's a little grumpy. This exhaust system is hanging on by a thread. I don't know who did this, but I gotta fix it. It is literally welded to the heat protector around the header pipes. Not good. Oh, more rust. trick the car does. Yeah. Let's do that again. That never gets old. Hitachi carburetor, you gotta go. Right there. That's where the miss is, right there. Remind me to grease this clutch cable. This is my other cat, Phantom. Phantom says hello. And here's Christine again. Christine and Phantom. If you know, you know. So original. This is the only Hitachi carburetor I have let run this long on one of my vehicles. As you can see, it's got a dead spot. Once you get past the dead spot, it'll run. I take it apart, clean it, runs fine for all of maybe 10 minutes, and then it starts it again. So I'm going to do what I always do. Put a Weber 3236 on it and forget about it. came up and talking to me about the car. They thought it was a Volvo at first. Then they asked if it was a Datsun. Then they asked if it was a Toyota. They're always shocked when I tell them it's a Subaru. Because most Subarus these days look nothing like this. Anyway, I can get on with my journey. And I'm going to blast my 80s metal, so enough you time, now it's me time. Here's another family cat. This is Butthead. Butthead is Christine's son. Phantom is Fix, so Butthead does not know who his father is. Butthead also thinks he's a dog. He lets me pet his belly. Phantom would attack me. Weird cat. Family stuff mission is now a success. Time to get back across town. you for joining me on my trek across town, and thank you for checking out Desert Dregs Garage. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I do. If you did, leave a like, subscribe if you want to. Till next time, have a wonderful day.